Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'll talk about the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution was a period of scientific and technological development in the 18th century. Goods that had once been painstakingly crafted by hand started to be produced in mass quantities by machines in factories, thanks to the introduction of new machines and techniques in textiles, ironmaking, and other industries. Though few innovations were developed as early as the 1700s, Industrial Revolution began in earnest by the 1830s and 1840s in Britain, and it soon spread to the rest of the world, including the United States. Starting in the mid-18th century, innovations like the spinning jenny, the flying shuttle, and the water frame, and the power loom made weaving cloth and spinning yarn and thread much easier. Producing cloth became faster and required less time and far less human labor. More efficient mechanized production meant Britain's new textile factories could meet the growing demand for cloth both at home and abroad, where the British Empire's many overseas colonies provided a captive market for its goods. In addition to textiles, the British iron industry also adopted new innovations. An icon of the Industrial Revolution broke onto the scene in the early 1700s when Thomas Newcomen decided the prototype for the first modern steam engine, called the atmospheric steam engine. Newcomen's invention was originally applied to the power to the machines used to pump water out of mine shafts. In the 1760s, Scottish engineer James Watt began tinkering with one of Newcomen's models, adding a separate water condenser that made it far more efficient. Watt later collaborated with Matthew Boulton to invent a steam engine with a rotary motion, a key innovation that would allow steam power to spread across British industries, including flour, paper, and cotton mills, ironworks, distilleries, waterworks, and canals. Britain's road network, which had been relatively primitive prior to industrialization, soon saw substantial improvements, and more than 2,000 miles of canals were used across Britain by 1815. The beginning of industrialization in the United States is usually pegged to the opening of a textile mill in Pawtucket, Rhode Island in 1793 by the recent English immigrant Samuel Slater. Slater had worked at one of the mills opened by Richard Arkwright, inventor of the water frame. Mills, and despite laws prohibiting the immigration of textile workers, he brought Arkwright's designs across the Atlantic. He later built several other cotton mills in New England and became known as the father of the American Industrial Revolution. By the mid-19th century, industrialization was well established throughout the western part of Europe and America's northeastern region. By the early 20th century, the US had become the world's leading industrial nation. That's all for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Bye.